Hello, knowledge seekers. Welcome back. Are you ready to hear about a money topic that is going to shake your world? Well, stay tuned because today's topic is packed with 5 things about how money works. If you're already subscribed, I want to start off by saying thank you. If not, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and subscribe and click that notification bell so that you never miss a money video from me. In this video, we're going to discuss 5 things about how money works. Number 3 ruffles a lot of feathers, so let me know what you think about it in the comments. Now, let's get straight into it. Number 1. The first thing to note about money is that making money is a game. Have you ever noticed how it seems that those who have money always seem to get more of it, and those who don't seem to never get more, or at least not have enough? Except for the lucky few, of course. This is because the wealthy have figured out how money works. And once you figure it out, you can reproduce it over and over and over again. It's like playing Monopoly. When you've found a winning strategy, it's not long before you get every property on the board. Did you know that most self-made millionaires agree with the statement that making money is a game? They agree because they played the game and they came out on top. They won. Knowing this information will set you up to make more money. Why? Because if you know it's a game, then you look to find the rules of the game. You learn how to incorporate those rules in your life, and then that will determine how you advance in the game. There are also cheat codes, but only advanced players know about them. If you want to become financially secure, figure out the rules by looking at people who have played and won. Develop a strategy to obtain the wealth, and then execute that strategy. Don't live in your head. It doesn't matter how great of a plan you have if you never act on it. Interesting fact, the graveyard is the richest place on the earth. Why, you ask? Because majority of people take their million and billion dollar ideas to the grave with them. Don't be like them. Realize your wealth while you can still go shopping. Number 2. 1% of the people hold 90% of the world's wealth. If you've heard this statistic before, then you might wonder, how is that even possible? Well, there are many ways to explain this phenomenon. The mathematicians will explain it in terms of patterns and equations and a universal code. A data analysis will show you the statistics, but at the end, it all boils down to one thing. That 1% is willing to do what the other 99% of people are not willing to do. This is not to say that the 1% work harder than the 99%, although that is probably the case in most situations. But there are those one-off shots of lottery winners and those who benefit from second-generational wealth. No. The thing it boils down to is a perspective and mentality of growth. That's right. Growth determines how successful you are, not only with money, but in life. The 1% knows something that the other 99% of people do not know. This does not mean that the information is not available. On the contrary, it could simply mean that only 1% act on that information. The Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said, "To know and not to do is to not yet know," which means it doesn't do any good for a person to read finance books, listen to finance videos, go to finance classes, and read finance literature if that person does not take action with the information that they consume. The hard truth is that most people have some form of financial training, but most people fail to make changes in their lives that will secure their finances. Now, how do you become part of the 1%? That's a very good question. The good news is that 1% of the population in the world hold the wealth, but it's not always the same 1%. For example, if John wins a mega million lottery, he would join a wealthy league. But if John does not manage the money, which most lottery winners do not manage it well, and they are generally broke within 7 years, although they have won enough money to last their lifetime, and if managed properly, their children's lifetime as well, and probably many more generations. But I digress. Let's go back to the example. If John wins a mega million lottery, he will join a wealthy league. But if John spends all the money, he will then move out of that 1% category, and another person who has accumulated wealth will take his place. What this means for you is that there is always an opportunity for you to join the 1%. Number 3, poverty is not the result of the lack of money. Now, I know that I will get a lot of lashback for this one, but it is true. If you look at the world's resources, there is more than enough to go around. Roughly 1/3 of the world's food production, that is about 1 billion tons, gets lost or wasted every year. In the US alone, there's approximately $49 billion of unclaimed money. An estimated $10 million at any given time is lying on the ground. Granted, it's spread all over, so don't spend the day picking up money in hopes of getting rich. In 2021, the annual report for the US detailed $54 billion in wasteful government spending. And the list goes on. What is my point? Okay, my point is that there is enough resources to eradicate poverty, yet poverty persists. So, the cause of poverty is not the lack of money. Poverty, in my opinion, is the result of a mentality. Now, mentalities can be changed, and it is not until we change our mentality as a collective whole that poverty will cease to exist. There is a metaphorical story that Dr. Wayne Dyer used to tell. It is the story of 4 philanthropists. The story goes that in a village, conquerors had come through and they had taken many of the men who were warriors of the village at that time, and they placed them in a war prison in the middle of the village. The people of the village knew that many of their compatriots were imprisoned, and the first philanthropist was a person who had great wealth. And he went to the people who were over the prison and said to them, "I understand that the prisoners are not able to have fresh water and cold water. I would like to donate all of my earnings and everything that I have to the purifying of the water for them and make sure that all of them will not get sick." And he was granted that. And he felt like he had fulfilled his destiny, that he had done what he was here for. The second philanthropist discovered that the men were sleeping on rocks and that they were cold at night and that they didn't have any blankets. And he took all of his funds and he said to the prison authorities, "I would like to provide bedding and blankets for the people so that they will be comfortable when they sleep at night." And he was granted that right. And he donated his money for this purpose. And again, he felt that he was fulfilling his destiny. The third philanthropist discovered that the food that they were eating was inadequate. They were just given beans, water, and some bread. And he said, "I own a farm, and I'd like to grow all of my food, and I'd like to take the food to all of these prisoners," and he was granted that right. And all 3 of these great philanthropists in the village felt that they had really completed their mission for why they were here. But the 4th philanthropist, well, he was a saint. He was not living at ordinary human awareness, but at a higher consciousness level. So he went and found out where the keys were, and he went to the prison at night, and he released all of the prisoners. There are many lessons that we can learn from this story, but for this video, the point is that changed mentality can eradicate poverty. The reason poverty persists is because of the way we think. Now, what does that mean on a personal level? Well, it means that the level of your wealth corresponds directly with what you think about money and poverty. But more about that when we get to number 5. Number 4, the key to wealth is managing money. Number 4 is probably one that you have heard before. The key to wealth is managing your money. Many people believe that they can't be wealthy because they don't have a high-paying job, or because they weren't born into wealth, or they don't have the education, or they don't have the experience. The list goes on and on and on. But did you know that over the span of a lifetime, an average person will generally earn $1.7 million? And this is an average. So it can be a little more, it can be a little less. And that, on average, $18,000 per year is wasted. That means that over a 20-year period, if you just save the wasted portion of your yearly income, you would have $360,000. This does not include any money you save. Let's say you had a modest income. You made about $42,000 a year. That's the average income in the US at least. If you save the recommended 10% of your income, in 20 years, you would have $84,000 just from your savings. If you add the savings and the wasted portion over 20 years, it brings you to a grand total of $444,000 by the age of 40. Now, if you are intentional, you could save upwards of 30% of your income. If you did that, you would actually have $696,000. If you took some of your savings and invested them along the way, you would have even more. My point is that the key to wealth is managing the money that you already have in such a way that will put you ahead. Here are a few tips that can help you get started building wealth today. Make sure to save a minimum of 10% of your income. If you can save more, that is better. Over time, you want to be saving 30 to 50% of your income. There are ways to do this without feeling overwhelmed. If you would like me to make a video on that topic, comment below. Number 5. Your belief has a lot to do with how much money you make and keep. Remember earlier when we were discussing how mentality is the cause of poverty? That fits right into this point. Your belief has a lot to do with how much money you make and keep. If you believe that you can only do minimal jobs for a minimum pay, then you will only go after minimal jobs with minimum pay. If you see yourself as competent, you will strive to get better jobs with better pay. And if you are ambitious, you will learn what you need to know in order to get considered for the best jobs with high pay. Now, this is purely talking about career-based jobs, but it is also true with entrepreneurship. Those who want more thirst and drive themselves to be more. Here's a nugget for you. You do not get what you want. You get what you are. Or should I say, who you are. So if you want $1 million, you have to become $1 million first. And that might sound like gibberish to you. So let me explain. $1 million is an energy. Have you ever heard the expression, you look like $1 million? The expression is not literal, but it shows you how the mind works. Whatever $1 million looks like to you is also accompanied by the way a person walks, talks, and dresses. When you think of a rich person, you have a mental image of that rich person. In this case, if you want to make more money, then you find out what more money looks like and become that. What does that look like? A person who has more money, what does that look like to you? If you want to make 6 figures, what does a person making 6 figures look like to you? So, in layman's terms, if you know that there's a tech job that pays 6 figures and you want a tech job, then look at the qualifications for that position. See what you know and learn what you don't know. If you don't believe that you can do it, then you won't accomplish it. But if you do believe, chances are, with discipline, you will succeed. Someone once said that he who believes he can and he who believes he can't is right. Now, keeping money is based on belief, but it is a little different. You keep money by letting it go. Now, I am not saying that you should spend frivolously, but I am saying that nothing fits into a closed fist. So don't be afraid of losing the wealth that you accumulate. If you are, you will probably lose it. Instead, take measures to save, invest, take a little risk with some of the money. Be wise. Spend in an intelligent manner. There are tons of resources online that will help you make wise decisions with your money. And that's it for today. Stay tuned for part 2, where we discuss 5 more things that show you how money works. Goodbye till next time.